In identifying what was important to the early church, we look at Acts 2:42 to 47. I want to read those, and I want to pick out the stuff that was important to them. It's really simple, straight up stuff, but still a little time to focus in on what made the early church this rapidly growing, explosively growing congregation of people who grew into the thousands very shortly with radical life change going on in Jerusalem. All the believers devoted themselves to the apostles' teaching, to fellowship, to sharing in meals, including the Lord's Supper, and to prayer. A deep sense of awe came over them all, and the apostles performed many miraculous signs and wonders. And all the believers met together in one place and shared everything they had. They sold their property and possessions and shared the money with those in need. They worshiped together at the temple each day, met in homes for the Lord's Supper, shared their meals with great joy and generosity, all the while praising God and enjoying the goodwill of all the people. And each day the Lord added to their fellowship those who were being saved. So let's pick out there and have Savannah write a list on the board. Don't make it like columns list. Just write stuff randomly here and there.
Just like all.
Yeah. Random. As we call them out, things that were unique to the early church. In any particular order from what I just read.
I heard food, they ate together.
Ate together, right?
Unique?
Every day.
Is that unique?
Ate together daily.
Okay.
I didn't mean to say unique as in only one church did it. I meant that the early church was known for. They were devoted to the apostles' teaching. You could shorten that somehow. Devoted to teaching. Okay, what else?
I find it interesting that they met in the temple still.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't that be a conflict of interest with the Jewish faith?
This is before the big separation, so they saw themselves as Jewish at this point.
Okay.
As an extension of the Jewish faith. The next,
They
what the
thought-
Jewish
yeah,
faith should be.
Right.
Right.
There was no separation yet.
When did that occur?
Just a short time after this. But they were still saying all good Jews are following Jesus and seeing him as the Messiah. Fellowship.
Shared everything.
Yeah, it's amazing.
This one.
Shared everything. No, that's good. Perfect.
They were devoted to prayer.
Okay. Good. They had a deep sense of awe. That's pretty cool. It's pretty amazing situation because it's easy to get bored even with miracles. Do miracles all the time, they don't seem that big a deal. But they preserved a deep sense of awe. I listened to somebody lately who said that people who experience great things are unusually known as people who preserve the awe. Awe wasn't the word they used, I can't remember. They preserve the sense of incredulity about life's great moments. It sounds like a sense of awe. Many miraculous signs and wonders. You can say many miracles. Miracles were common.
Sold their property, put their possessions, and shared the money. Shared the money.
Right up.
I don't know.
Shared the money. That works.
The Lord added to their fellowship every day.
That's good. Yeah, church was daily. Not weekly.
Could you imagine that?
We're doing that alone then.
Yeah, because they all seem happy, so.
Well, I don't know a church that, I don't know a healthy church that doesn't at some point develop more and more and more of the daily thing in a variety of ways. I bet there'd be very few days you went to Grace Family, for example, that there wasn't something happening or a lot happening.
Every day.
Takes time to get there, but
They don't have special events at their church because they don't have time, they don't have the space for them. That's how much is going on there.
right. That's cool.
Like, they don't ever hold a concert or anything there because they just don't, they can't do it.
Did we get them all?
They shared their meals with great joy and generosity.
They fed people. No, they.
We got
already
eight together early, yeah. In addition to meeting at the temple each day, they met in homes. So that also should be on there. It wasn't just a large group experience, it was also a small group experience.
They started home church.
Every now and again, I hear the home church people saying, I was just teaching for Dove Fellowship, and for a while it seemed like Dove Fellowship was talking about how the early church met in homes. And I was like, well, Acts 2 says they met in the temple and in homes. In other words, there was both, not one or the other. Both, and I think that's pretty significant. Shared their meals with great joy and generosity. There was great joy. I think that should be part of it. There's great joy. We're doing a teaching series this summer called Party Like a Disciple. Because we're trying to teach the power of joy, and joy is a practiced celebration. It's not a
Natural emotion.
It's not a natural emotion. It is a practiced emotion.
That's good.
Party like a disciple.
That's
the worst title ever.
I'd like to say that.
I don't think it's the worst
I'd
title.
like, I was gonna say, I'd like to say that.
Sierra, we wanted you to have pizza. Did you get some pizza?
Huh?
Did you get pizza?
No, I'm not hungry. Thank
We will force feed you if we have to.
you. That's gross.
We'd have to catch you first.
I'd like to say that youth ministry did do the original Rock Stars first. That was like, we
Is
talked
that what it
about.
was?
No, we talked about like Elijah being like an outcast and like they're in different situations. They're the rock stars of their day. Like they were considered like weird and dirty and like, but very cool by some. And they were like the movement underground. So
Yeah.
Elijah and Jesus.
All right. I don't see any others. Well, where does it talk about how they evangelized? It says the Lord added. I don't see they evangelized. Shared their money with those in need. That was evangelism, I guess. But it's not traditional evangelism. All right. I think that'll do it. Thank you. I might call you back because you're obviously very good at this game.
Oh, thank you.
This game you're good at.
All right.
I just got an update. I read it to me.
SU version.
I don't know what to do that.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
I'll listen to it every day.
Only certain.
My favorite Bible reading tool in the world right there.
Only certain translations for them, and the ones that have speakers next to them.
Actually, most of them, they're good. I like them all. I'm still missing something on this page. I don't understand where we're going here, but I'll try to get past it. So, our behaviors express what is important to us. In expressing what is important to Connection Church, what behaviors do we need as a church? to express the things that are important to us as a, let me put this way, I'm reading right now, The Advantage. Pat Lencioni's book, The Advantage, is helping me more than any book I've read in quite a while on leadership. I think maybe since Good to Great, I think it's a classic. And he talks in there about, first, values, and secondly, behaviors. He says, what behaviors does the organization need to have to accomplish its purposes, its whatever purposes God created it for in this case? So what behaviors, or what are the lists of activities that Connection Church needs to have to accomplish the purposes for which God brought it into Tampa existence?
Fellowship, for sure.
Savannah, I think what we need to do is start another list here. Let me find a spot on the wall for this list, the Acts list. And I think, Dale, what might be useful here is that you talk about some priority. Where do you start? Because you can't do everything at once. No church can have everything the first day, of course. But what are some things, if you're sort of prioritizing the activities that are most important now, what are the things you want to get hot, quick, and the things that might need to wait a little bit?
Well, I think, you know, I said I want to do a once a month service that's geared more towards fellowship, call them more like a family fun day, where we do a lot more fellowship and fun, hanging out, kind of generated around food with a highly shortened service.
Okay? Right up there, fellowship dash, family fun day. Yeah, randomly.
And that can be pulled off with very little money, and it doesn't have to be a tremendous, you know.
Perfect.
The meeting in homes is very important for us. We're doing it already.
Okay.
That's one of our priorities is small groups.
Okay.
Yeah, small groups. I kind of call them curriculum groups because I like to run a dedicated curriculum, something that
And all the groups doing the same thing?
Well, no, I mean,
Each group doing a certain
some,
thing?
right, more geared
Okay.
towards an individual's passion
Good.
or something. But I mean, we only have 2 small groups going right now. And the one is not curriculum based, which is the men's group. We just meet on Wednesday mornings.
Pray, fellowship.
To pray and fellowship. Just
Good.
live life. It's good. It's good stuff. But they're running curriculum. Women like to keep the men out, so they're running a women's curriculum group. And of course, we meet at the temple. Temple of Ben Hill.
The Ben Hill
The Ben Hill Temple.
Temple Center Church.
And that's what we're doing now.
So you are doing both small groups and large
Yeah.
group.
Mhm.
So that, you could put that down, a large group meeting weekly.
We're not sharing the money yet. I haven't even figured that one out.
Okay, that's
Are
true.
you not
I'm just
meeting
teasing. I'm
needs
not like
of
they are.
people who are needy?
No, actually, yeah, we've done some of that, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Weekly?
We-
Yeah, weekly. So would that be a developed system at this point? The
Yeah,
benevolence,
it needs
community
to be.
care, whatever you call
It
it?
needs to be. Yeah, that's something we need to work on, for sure.
So it needs to be, or it is?
No, we need to develop that more. Right now, the system is just, if we see a need, we're gonna try to help with it, you know, I mean, but
So put down benevolence as a good code word for that.
should I to
something
spell
you're
that
wanting
way.
to develop.
B-E,
Ben,
B-N-E,
E-V,
B-O,
yeah, O,
L-E-N-C-E.
yep. You got it. E
No Y,
ends in E.
but.
E at the end
Ends
instead
in E
of
instead
Y.
of a Y.
That's probably where
Turn
too.
that Y into an E. Beautiful.
Awkward.
Say.
It's a Y with an I.
All right, what else? What other things that,
That's pretty.
that are priority in developing?
Well, I mean, the other one that is really important that we have changed our focus on is devoted to prayer. That's something
Okay.
that,
How are you doing that?
well, we did a prayer walk for a month where we did once a week meetings at the track and walked around the track at the school. We anointed every door on the outside of the school.
That's awesome.
We anointed the property, the four corners of the property. It was pretty awesome stuff. We enjoyed that. And
So,
we need to develop a consistency of
prayer
some sort.
events.
Yeah, prayer events. I like that.
Good. Others?
I think
Any-
discipleship.
All right, what does discipleship look like now? You're saying that's not developed, but it needs to be? Is that how you're
No,
feeling?
that's happening in small groups, isn't it? And Sunday mornings. I mean, that's
It
what
is,
it
I
exists
just
in.
think we need to do more of it.
We're gonna talk about that a little later, and probably Thursday night, I think it is. We will talk about building a system to get somebody from not saved all the way to whatever your definition of maturity is gonna be.
Leading your own church.
Could be. That'd be great. Any others that are priority in developing right now? Okay? Probably not. If you looked at that group from Acts, what are ones that you would really like to see somewhere along the way, and you're not sure how to develop perhaps,
I know how to develop them, but,
or when to develop, or whatever?
well, I mean, the one that I desire to see is, I desire to see miracles. I'm just being honest with you.
Okay.
I want to see people healed. I believe that that's a sign of a healthy church, in my opinion. And I believe.
Do you have a healing time each week, or
No,
regularly?
no, we don't. Obviously,
May I offer a suggestion?
absolutely,
We do it in worship each week.
yeah.
Second song, after the second song, somebody comes up and says, "Altars open, there's people here to pray for you." You might want to do it in the back. We tried the front and the back, and when we went to the back, almost nobody showed up. In the front, people did show up a lot. Right now, we're doing both, because some people don't want to come to the front, and some people don't want to go to the back. So we have a person in the back and 3 people in the front or something. And the site pastor, we call it, is in charge of recruiting them and having them ready to go up there and opening the altars. But it also gives a way to make other people visible as leaders, and because there's growth barriers. The traditional growth barriers for churches are the 80 barrier, which I think you're probably up against in one form or another. Then there's the 200 barrier and the 1,000 barrier. The 80 barrier, the primary deal is that at some point everybody can't come to you all the time for every answer. So you got to find ways to pull some of the load off of your shoulders. And that little deal, well, it really seems insignificant. Somebody opening that altar and recruiting those people to pray and being seen as the person assisting me with the service is really significant, and people having one other place to go for answers. Because the 80 barrier is overcome by having multiple leaders visible in one way or another, in addition to the 2 of you. So, however you do it, one of the ways to do the miracle thing, one of the ways to see miracles is to create an opportunity for miracles.
Absolutely.
So we We also do the end of services, end of every service, I end by saying, I'd love to pray over you and your family, or just you. And I probably get 8 to 10 more there, those services, but they're really valuable. I'd rather do that than greet people at the door, because I figure the people that, at the door, I get monopolized by people who have nothing to say, but are willing to take 35 minutes to say it, and get offended if you don't listen.
Yeah.
When I do it at the altar, it's usually dominated by people who really want help. It feels like to me anyway. Better pastors than me disagree, so it might not be right, but it's where I'm at with it. All right. Any others that you want to put on the list of things that you need to develop to mirror what God did in the early church, things that need to be priority items?
Add to the church daily. That's the one that the Lord needs to figure out.
Well, we're going to work on, in the next couple of days, we're going to work on some systems to make that happen. And you're on to the mother load when you talk about creating a friend day kind of event. I think you're also onto it when the event you just talked about. You want to do a monthly thing where you have food and the service is very different, and it's really geared toward bringing people. I think that's really, really excellent. I think those are the mother load events, because especially when you're young, you're going to grow mostly from, especially under 100, you're going to grow mostly from people directly saying to their friends, you got to come with me to my church, something cool is going on here. And so you got to create that opportunity. And if you want to see miracles, the only thing it takes to see miracles is opportunity. So you got to find a way in your service to put those in there. Create opportunity, either at the end, the beginning, sometime when you're praying over people. And like Oral Roberts used to say that 4 out of 10 people that he laid hands on and prayed for got healed, and that frustrated the snot out of him until he argued with God about it. God wouldn't answer him. Finally, the Holy Spirit said, I'm not going to tell you everything. Essentially, this is in one of his early books. I'm not going to tell you everything, but if you stop praying for the 10 people because only 4 of them get saved, you won't get any. So be satisfied with the 4 out of 10. And he went back to praying over people and seeing miracles again. And that story has really stuck with me, because it was saying, sometimes we get over-focused with the masses when God called us to pray over people, and whether or not there are miracles is up to him.
Yeah.
But it's our job to pray, to lay on hands and pray the prayer of faith. So, for this to happen, we talked the last time I was here, and I still have the list of your spiritual gifts, and I'd like to go over that a little bit further and talk more about how your spiritual gifts will enter into your church life, and then how your relational style fits into your church life. So turn a page or tear that off, however you want to do that. And let's talk a little bit about spiritual gifts. Have your feelings about your personal spiritual gifts changed at all since then? I mean, I don't remember, but pretty often in talking about spiritual gifts, it sort of stirs it up when you start talking about it. So,
I don't remember what we talked about to be real frank with you.
what are your spiritual gifts, Dave?
Give me my options again. Because I'm like drawing a blank about what we talked about.
Teaching, giving, administration, helps, mercy, exhortation, evangelism. And that's a short list. Let me go to Romans 12. Somebody go to
1 Corinthians.
1 Corinthians 12, and let's look at the 2 lists of spiritual gifts. I'll get Romans 12.
I've got
In fact,
1 Corinthians.
Savannah, if you would make a list of these spiritual gifts as we call them out.
1 Corinthians 12, what?
I'm in Romans 12 right now, verse 6. 1 Corinthians 12. You have it, Luke?
Verse 28 are some of them.
Okay.
Page.
Oh, yeah. Prophets, teachers.
It's slacking.
Start with
Scroll down.
apostles.
Wait a second. We're finding them already written down,
Page
so
53.
if they're in front of you.
Nice.
Let me talk about each of the spiritual gifts for just a little bit, to give us some time to think. And I'd like you to then, actually, a few people around this table to talk about what you think your spiritual gifts are. You found them on what page?
53.
I did not get there yet, so I'll get there in just a second. Hopefully.
Typing away furiously.
Typing away, man.
I'm working on some youth ministry stuff right now.
I'll just use your page.
Yeah, of course.
All right. Gift of administration, it calls here a ruling gift. It's, I really see administration more as an organizing and delegating gift. Apostleship or pioneering is starting new things and being sent by God for a specific purpose. Craftsmanship, there's actually a guy in the Old Testament whose spiritual gift was to make furniture. So they're way more than, spiritual gifts are way more than the gifts listed in the Bible, is what that would indicate, and they're often very practical gifts. Creative communication, like the ability to communicate through drama, for example. Discernment is the special insight concerning good and evil. A discerner is invaluable. This kind of person can, with one conversation, easily discern whether a person's intent is good or evil. Encouragement, share practical steps of action. Encouragement actually is more than that. It's you help somebody to feel empowered by your words over them. Evangelism, comfortably sharing the gospel with results. Faith, the unique ability to trust God and His word for the impossible. Faith is not only a motivational gift, it's also a one-time gift. Sometimes you just have a gift of faith for a situation. Giving is using stewardship to further God's kingdom. Healing, the ability to pray for and help others be healed. No, you don't need to list these at this point because we have a list. Hospitality is welcoming people. Gift of hospitality is who you want at the front desk and who you want creating the front desk. They're the people who really care about people having a good first impression, first experience, and who will always be hovering over people to help them experience positively. Your mom has the biggest gift of hospitality concerning this house I've ever seen. She just loves that kind of thing. It's an incredible gift. Intercession, pray, able to pray earnestly and faithfully for others. Interpretation is the ability to translate what others speak in tongues. Knowledge is the ability to receive insights from God in the Bible. Knowledge is actually often much more specific. It's God tells you the exact number and the place and all of that. It's not always the application, but it's the exact items needed. Leadership is obvious influence to motivate others. Actually, I hate that definition. I think the definition of leadership is you intrinsically know where you should go next. People just know. Leaders just know. Mercy is giving sympathy and or empathy to the hurting. Miracles is unique faith to experience supernatural occurrences. Pastoring, shepherding, ministering to groups needing leadership. Pastoring and shepherding, I think a better word is coaching. Today we use the word coaching. It is somebody who loves to develop others. And they have a gift of development. Prophecy is to discern right from wrong or declare truth over somebody. Actually, 1 Corinthians 14 says prophecy is strengthening, encouragement, and comfort. So I think this definition is a little bit narrow, but it does include discerning right from wrong. It also has to do with knowing God's voice in a particular situation, and the role of the prophet is somebody every pastor should have around them, because even if you are a prophet, you can't always operate as a prophet when you're a leader, and you need a prophet, somebody close to you who will help discern the situation. Serving.
How come the prophets in the Bible were tended to be pretty negative? And we tend to have prophecy here as being nothing but encouragement,
They were in negative
Because 1
situations.
Corinthians 14, 1-3 says that it's encouragement, and they weren't negative in the Old Testament. It says in Judges 6 that every time before God put judgment on people, he sent a prophet to try to deliver them from judgment. That's not a negative thing at all. They just had to deal with harsh realities.
Right.
Prophets don't hold back from saying, you know, if you keep driving this direction, you're going to go off a cliff.
Yeah.
But their motivation is always love and forgiveness and grace. Motivation is not the cliff. Serving behind the scene is, serving, the gift of service is, I don't like that definition either. It is somebody who says, I am able to get things done, and I love to do it. Behind the scenes, servers often are also the ones willing to do it in front of everybody because that not very many people are willing to. They say if the best way to serve this congregation is at the microphone, I'm willing to serve. A servant's heart is just, I know how to get things done. I'm willing to get things done. Teaching, clarify truth, insights as to why facts are true. Teachers love the effect of information. They're fascinated with how information affects people. When I know things, I'm different. I'm forever different by knowing things. Teachers love that. Tongues, the ability to speak an unknown language in public. Is there any more? Feels like we're missing one or two. Okay, so from that, I would like each of you here to work a little bit at talking about some of the 2 or 3 at least of the gifts that God seems to use in you a lot. I think there can be danger in over-identifying because the Holy Spirit, well, let me put it this way. If my best friend has $1 million, because we're best friends, that $1 million is sort of available to me, right? My best friend has a boat. That boat is sort of available to me. In other words, every gift that my best friend has is available to me. So I think sometimes that we overemphasize our certain spiritual gifts as if that means we don't have the others. But if you're close to the Holy Spirit, you have all the spiritual gifts available to you right there all the time. However, there are some that he seems to use in you more. And for example, my role right now, leadership is pretty big, but I've always had in me ever since my brother shot my dog, I had the gift of mercy. Because while everybody else thinks that was a humorous experience, it was one of the most horrific experiences of my life to find my dog with blood running out of his head, dying, and found out my brother did it in an act of vengeance. It was a gift of mercy since then. That was also the year Denise was at the farm and found me a raging maniac because I wanted to kill my brother after that. The gift of mercy
Which
wasn't
brother
fun
was
for a
this?
little while. With Glenn. I thought I was going to murder my brother Glenn. Through a lot of prayer, God gave me the gift of mercy out of that.
You had like
So I operate first of all in the gift of leadership, but the gift of mercy is really big in my leadership. And